Chapter 26, B-Level Mission. A month after the Second Ninja War. A month had passed since the end of the Second Ninja War, and Konoha had finally handled the follow-up matters. Tsunade had returned to Konoha from the front lines. However, one of the Sannin, Jiraiya, did not return with her. Instead, he chose to stay in Omegakure. Not only that, but Jiraiya also took in 3 local orphans, Nagato, Yahiko, and Konan, becoming their mentor and teaching them ninjutsu. He intended to stay with them until they were capable of surviving on their own. This decision infuriated Konoha's top brass, especially Danzo. War was inherently cruel, there was no place for mercy or sympathy. As a shinobi of Konohagakure, Jiraiya had taken it upon himself to secretly train children from another nation. The land of rain and the land of fire had been at war. Jiraiya's actions were seen as a betrayal of Konoha's interests. Danzo, in particular, was livid. But he wasn't the only one. Both Homura Mitokado and Kaharu Udatane shared the same sentiment. Even the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, was displeased with Jiraiya's behavior. Konoha's post-war meeting. A post-war debriefing was held in Konoha, and the air in the Hokage's office was tense. Danzo spoke first, his voice sharp with anger. Hiruzen, this is the fine student you have trained. Hiruzen's face darkened. He sighed and took a slow drag from his pipe. Jiraiya is too reckless. This time, the third Hokage had no defense. He had lost to Danzo in this argument and had no choice but to shift the blame elsewhere. His eyes turned toward his other 2 students. Tsunade, Orochimaru, why did you let Jiraiya act like this? Orochimaru smirked, licking his lips before responding. Sarutobi-sensei, I wanted to kill those 3 brats in Omegakure. Jiraiya, however, insisted on doing things his own way. And Tsunade, well, she didn't stop him. What was I supposed to do? Hiruzen shifted his gaze between Tsunade and Orochimaru, narrowing his eyes. His once young disciples had grown into powerful individuals with their own wills. Jiraiya had defied his orders as Hokage, acting entirely on his own accord. It was an unsettling realization. But Konoha couldn't treat Jiraiya as a rogue ninja. After all, he had done nothing to directly harm the village. On the contrary, he had made significant contributions during the war. Labeling him a traitor so soon after the war would make Konoha a laughingstock among the other nations. Worse still, it would send the wrong message to loyal Konoha shinobi. If Jiraiya could be treated as a criminal for a personal decision, then what would stop the village from turning on others? Hiruzen sighed inwardly. Jiraiya, you've grown too independent. Udatane Kaharu, her expression severe, spoke up. Hiruzen, issue an order for Jiraiya to return to the village. If he refuses, bring him back by force. Mitokado Homura nodded in agreement. Yes. And as for those orphans he took in, they should be brought back as well. They can serve Konoha. Unlike them, Danzo remained silent, deep in thought. Hiruzen exhaled another puff of smoke and considered the suggestion. Then, his tone turned cold. HMPH. And who do you think can bring Jiraiya back? The room fell silent. Homura and Kaharu exchanged uncertain glances. Jiraiya wasn't just any shinobi, he was one of the legendary Sannin. His strength was already at a cage level. If they wanted to bring him back by force, they would need someone just as strong. Should they send Tsunade and Orochimaru after him? That was unrealistic. The war had just ended. Konoha needed to rebuild, strengthen its forces, and prepare for future conflicts. Fighting amongst themselves now would be the height of foolishness. Besides, Jiraiya wasn't an enemy. He was still a Konoha ninja, just one who had chosen a different path. After a moment of contemplation, Hiruzen spoke again. There's nothing we can do but accept Jiraiya's decision. Even Danzo, Homura, and Kaharu had no choice but to agree. The meeting concluded without a resolution. That evening, Tsunade wandered along the riverbank in Konoha, lost in thought. The war had left her feeling empty. If she didn't still care about Konoha, she might have left just like Jiraiya. But she couldn't bring herself to abandon the village entirely. In the past, she had people here, her younger brother Nawaki, and Dan Kato. Now, they were gone. All she had left were her 3 students, Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, and Hyuga Hikari. They were a source of comfort, slowly filling the void in her heart. And then there was Shizune, Dan's niece. She was still just a toddler, barely 2 years old, but Tsunade wanted to be there for her. She wanted to see her grow up. Dash dash dash. 3 days later, in the Hokage's office, Tsunade's team received their first major mission. A new mission. Hirizen's expression was solemn as he addressed them. Most of Konoha's shinobi were busy with post-war reconstruction efforts. Tsunade's squad was one of the few teams available. This is a B-rank mission, he announced. You are to travel to Hoshigakure and stop a Megakure's conspiracy. Tsunade frowned. According to intelligence reports, a Megakure wasn't satisfied with the outcome of the war. They wanted revenge. And now, they had set their sights on the village hidden in the stars. Hoshigakure possessed a mysterious and powerful energy source. If a Megakure could harness it, they could rebuild their forces and launch another war. Tsunade quickly realized the issue. This mission was classified as B rank, but in reality, it was A rank. Konoha, struggling financially after the war, had deliberately downgraded the mission's classification to avoid paying a higher reward. Tsunade scoffed inwardly. Good job, Konoha. Sending people on an A-rank mission while paying them for a B-rank one. How generous. Why didn't they do the opposite, pay for an A-rank mission and send people on a B-rank task? The reality was simple. The village needed funds for reconstruction. As for the shinobi, they were expected to endure and sacrifice. That was the way of the ninja. From Hirizen's perspective, Kushina and the others were still genin, and this mission was dangerous for them. But Tsunade reassured him. With her leading the team, there was nothing to fear. There would be no mistakes. Question. Do you guys like Akakan 40 fix? There's our fix called. In Naruto, Reborn with chat group. Naruto. I aspire to become Hokage man. Naruto. Copy system. These are good. Check them out. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Your support is truly appreciated, it means a lot to me. Hey guys, the cover of this FIC is taken down, can you give comments some pics? 18 comments 0 vote. Chapter 27, Hoshigakure 1. Hoshigakure village is located in the land of bears. The leader of the village is called Hoshikage*. But that's what they call themselves. In the ninja world, only the leaders of the 5 major countries and the 5 major ninja villages have the title of Kage*. This is not what we claim to be, but what is recognized by the world. There is a strange mysterious power in Hoshigakure. That is the meteorite that fell 200 years ago. The ninjas in Hoshigakure practiced around meteorites, and their abilities were greatly improved. The ninjas of Hoshigakure want to rely on the power of this meteorite to make Hoshigakure one of the 5 major ninja villages. Tisk tisk. In a small country like the Bear Country, it's like sitting in a well and looking at the sky. With the power of a meteorite, they want to be among the 5 great ninja villages. The people in Hoshigakure don't know the dangers of world. And this time, the goal of the Hidden Rain village is the strange mysterious power of the meteorite in Hoshigakure. Tsunade had only heard a little about the meteorite in Hoshigakure. She had never seen its power either. Hoshigakure. Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari looked forward to it. This was their first time leaving the Land of Fire. And it's a B-level mission. Kushina is ready to show off her skills. Tsunade, Kushina, and the others traveled day and night and finally arrived at the Bear Country. Listen, you 3, don't act rashly. Tsunade instructed seriously. Ninja missions often come with danger. Tsunade had already lost too much in the war, and she couldn't lose any more. Tsunade said so, but Kushina and the other 2 didn't think so. These 3 people all want to show their progress in front of Tsunade. Especially Kushina. Near Hoshigakure, Tsunade and her team carefully observed every move around them. It's not good, Tsunade nay, there is a group of people rushing towards us. Kushina, who had just started sensing, sensed this emergency. Bang, bang, bang. Several kunai with detonating charms attached to them flew towards Kushina and the others with the force of cutting through the air current. Mikoto, who was good at shuriken, took the lead and knocked down all the kunai with her shuriken. Explosions sounded in the air. Who dares to invade our Hoshigakure? Tsunade and the others were already very careful. They wanted to get rid of the Hidden Rain ninjas without the knowledge of the Hoshigakure. But they didn't expect that it still alerted the ninjas of Hoshigakure. Could it be that there are sensory ninjas in Hoshigakure? Everyone, we are ninjas from Konoha. We came to Hoshigakure this time to stop Hidden Rain's conspiracy. What a joke, what are you doing in our Hoshigakure to stop Hidden Rain's conspiracy? And we're supposed to believe that. Tsunade told the Hoshigakure ninjas that the Hidden Rain ninjas wanted to seize the power of the meteorite from their village. HMPH, is this a one of great village in the ninja world? It's really hypocritical. You, Konoha, want to steal the power of our Hoshigakure, and you are looking for a scapegoat in a high-sounding way. The ninjas in Hoshigakure didn't believe Tsunade's words. Comrades, deal with the intruders. There are more than a dozen star ninjas in this group, and the leader is named Kai. Tsunade saw that they had formed a strange seal. Suddenly, a pair of peacock-like wings appeared from behind. The entire forest is filled with blue-purple chakra. This was the first time Tsunade saw such a strange ninjutsu. Is this the power of the meteorite? But as a medical ninja, she could tell at a glance that these people had great physical dangers, which seemed to be caused by their training. In other words, this force can cause great damage to the body. Peacock method. The chakra behind everyone transformed into the shape of wild beasts and pounced ferociously at Kushina and the others. Kushina, Mikoto, Hikari, retreat. Tsunade directly lifted up a large piece of land and rushed towards the beasts formed by chakra. Boom. Explosions were heard in the air, sending smoke and dust everywhere. When the smoke and dust dispersed, the figures of Tsunade and the others disappeared. TCH, she is worthy of being a ninja of Konoha. She really has strength. What surprised their leader and the other star ninjas was the yellow-haired woman. She actually had such terrifying power that she lifted up a large piece of land with her bare hands. Even if they use the peacock technique, they can't do it. Kai was confident when he got more power from the meteorite. Whether it is the ninjas of Konoha, Cloud Shinobi, or Mist Shinobi, Hoshigakure will not take them seriously. By then, the title of Hoshikage will also be recognized by the world. Instead of calling themselves in a small village like the Bear Country like now. Lord Akahoshi, Lord Raijin, our ninjas has captured the third Hoshikage. As expected of my team, third Hoshikage should have abdicated long ago. But Lord Akahoshi, Natsu Hoshi escaped, and there are still some people in the village who support third Hoshikage and Natsu Hoshi. Yes, then use strength to silence them. Now, Hoshigakure is in a stage of internal strife. The two brothers Raijin and Akahoshi advocated continuing to practice the power of meteorites. However, third Hoshikage, Natsu Hoshi, etc. prohibited practice with meteorites. Because many ninjas in the village have died young because they practiced the power of meteorites. However, Raijin and Akahoshi gained support from a large number of people on the grounds of third Hoshikage. Because third Hoshikage lived for more than 100 years, and he also practiced the power of meteorites. This made the people in the village feel that Hoshikage was deceiving them, so they chose to side with the two brothers Akahoshi and Raijin. As night fell, Tsunade and team found a place to rest. A figure made of dark red chakra appeared in the night. It was Kurama. He wants the power of this meteorite. At least not with the ability to fly. Moreover, the peacock technique can be used even more effectively when combined with his nine tails chakra, which is a good experience. As a nine tails, Kurama can basically ignore the side effects on people, and he can even cancel the side effects of the meteorite chakra. It's time to act. Inside Hoshigakure. The two brothers Raijin and Akahoshi were planning their next move. Now that the third Hoshikage is in their hands, only Natsu Hoshi has escaped. As long as they get Natsu Hoshi, they can get support of all. Those star ninjas who supported Natsu Hoshi had no choice but to obey. By that time, they will fully grasp the power of meteorites. Raijin and Akahoshi want the world to recognize their title of Hoshikage. Just when the two brothers Raijin and Akahoshi were having a discussion, a star ninja hurriedly ran in. His eyes were filled with fear. Lord Raijin, Lord Akahoshi, it's not good, there's a monster outside. Dash 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 dash. There's our fix called. In Naruto, Reborn with chat group. Naruto. I aspire to become Hokage man. This is comedic gold. Naruto. Copy system. These are good. Check them out. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Your support is truly appreciated. 11 comments 0 vote. Chapter 28, Hoshigakur 2. There's a monster coming from outside. Raijin, Akahoshi, and the others rushed out immediately. They saw corpses everywhere outside, and the dead were all the men of the two brothers. Not far away, an orange-haired man clapped his hands and said, "I just wanted to get something. Why stop me?" At the same time, another star ninja came to report. "Lord Raijin, Lord Akahoshi, a group of ninjas are coming, maybe they wanted to steal the meteorite as well." It was truly a case of misfortune piling up. But they didn't recognize the orange-haired man in front of them. Had he found reinforcements from outside? "Hey, do you guys know where the meteorite is?" Kurama asked calmly. Without waiting for an answer, Kurama sensed the meteorite's chakra in the house behind the group of star ninjas. "By the way, let me remind you, don't stop me. Otherwise, you'll end up just like them." Kurama pointed at the bodies on the ground, his expression remained indifferent. With that, he swaggered towards the house where the meteorite was kept. When had the brothers Raijin and Akahoshi ever seen someone this arrogant? He didn't take them seriously at all. "Kill that wild beast." The brothers gave the order. Several ninjas from the Hidden Star village simultaneously used the peacock technique. Blue-purple chakra formed into beasts that lunged toward Kurama. At that moment, several dark red chakra arms emerged from Kurama's body, grabbing the chakra beasts like an eagle snatching chicks. How is this possible? Raijin and Akahoshi were stunned, completely shocked. The peacock technique, which they prided themselves on, was utterly powerless before this man. And from this dark red chakra, they felt an unprecedented fear. This power seemed to surpass even the meteorite itself. Kurama had already warned them once. Since they chose to stop him, there was nothing more to say. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The dark red chakra arms pierced through the chests of the star ninja who had attacked him, swift and lethal. One by one, they fell lifelessly to the ground. Kurama sighed and muttered in frustration. "I told you not to stop me, yet you still did. How disobedient." At this point, only Raijin and Akahoshi remained. Watching this, the two brothers trembled in fear. This man was ruthless and didn't waste words. When Raijin and Akahoshi saw Kurama's sharp fangs, their entire bodies shuddered. How could anyone have such fangs, like a wild beast? The chakra from the ninjas that Kurama had killed was absorbed into his body. His dark red chakra stretched out dozens of meters, directly reaching the meteorite inside the house. You already have such overwhelming power. Why do you still want to take our meteorite?" Kurama glanced at them, his scarlet eyes making Raijin and Akahoshi's hearts pound in fear. That question was a mistake. Who would turn down more power? Kurama smirked before extending his chakra arms and pulling the brothers toward him. We didn't stop you. Please don't kill us." At this moment, all their pride and dignity vanished. The brothers could only beg for mercy. Seeing their terrified expressions, Kurama chuckled darkly. "Who said you didn't stop me? Your stupid questions delayed me for several seconds." Raijin and Akahoshi nearly cried in despair. They thought, does that even count? In the face of absolute strength, crushing an ant required no justification. But if Kurama wanted to kill, he will kill. Crack. Snap. The two brothers perished in Kurama's grasp, and their meteorite-enhanced chakra was absorbed into his body. This scene was witnessed by the Hidden Star village ninjas who had arrived with Hoshikage. Kurama turned back and sneered. "What? Are you planning to stop me from taking the meteorite too?" The elderly third Hoshikage had been rescued by others. These star ninjas opposed using the meteorite for training and wanted to destroy it. Now, someone else wanted to take it away. No, someone was already taking it away, and they were relieved. Seeing Kurama's terrifying power, none of them dared to speak, fearing they might delay him. Raijin and Akahoshi's deaths had been a clear warning. Only the third Hoshikage and Natsu trembled as they shook their heads, signaling that they had no objections. I see. Kurama understood the situation in Hidden Star Village. Everyone watched as he absorbed the meteorite's chakra into his body in a single breath. It was utterly terrifying. This meteorite had been used for over 200 years, yet its chakra had never been fully absorbed. And now, in mere moments, it had been drained dry. The horror of the man before them was beyond comprehension. Kurama curled his lips. HMPH. So, the meteorite's chakra was nothing special after all. Look at that, this was what true strength sounded like. The star ninjas broke into a cold sweat. 200 years of effort, gone in a single breath. And yet, he called it nothing special. To Kurama, this was simply an objective fact. To these people, it was pure arrogance. Not only that, but Kurama waved his hand once more. The remaining meteorite chakra within the star ninjas was drawn into his body. Since you don't want it, I'll take it. Without the meteorite chakra, the side effects of their training were gone. In a twisted way, Kurama had saved their lives. The third Hoshikage led everyone in kneeling before Kurama. Thank you for your mercy, sir. Boom. In an instant, a pair of peacock-like wings formed behind Kurama. But unlike the usual blue-purple chakra, his wings were wrapped in a dark red aura. With a flicker, he soared into the night sky, disappearing into the horizon. What interested Kurama the most was the ability to fly. Once he was gone, the star ninjas finally exhaled in relief. Lord Hoshikage, who was that young man? The third Hoshikage simply answered with 5 words. That was a god among men. Dash 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 dash. There's our fix called. In Naruto, Reborn with chat group. Naruto. I aspire to become Hokage man. Naruto. Copy system. These are good. Check them out. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 19 comments 0 vote. Chapter 29, Hoshigakure 3. That man is a god. The third Hoshikage stood up and spoke word by word. Everyone gasped upon hearing this statement. The third Hoshikage had lived for decades and had never given such an evaluation. That meant the man with scarlet eyes and orange hair just now was far beyond their imagination. The shinobi of Hoshigakure had only absorbed a portion of the meteorite's chakra, yet they suffered severe illnesses and died young. And this man had absorbed all the chakra from the meteorite. The side effects must have been unimaginable. However, Kurama acted as if nothing had happened. Not only that, but Kurama, who had just obtained the meteorite's chakra, used the peacock technique without forming seals or undergoing any training. To the shinobi of Hoshigakure, what else could he be but a god? The next day, the sun rose in the east. Kurama had returned to Kushina's body. Tsunade, Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari were ready. Tsunade nay, I sensed several distinct chakra signatures heading toward Hoshigakure at full speed. The rain shinobi are finally here. It was too late to take a detour. They had to head directly to Hoshigakure. Even if the Hoshigakure shinobi tried to stop them, they would have to fight their way through. However, what surprised Kushina and the others was that the shinobi of Hoshigakure did not engage them in battle like they had yesterday. Instead, they were extremely respectful and polite. They believed Tsunade's warning that the rain shinobi were coming to attack. Moreover, the shinobi of Hoshigakure were willing to join forces with Kushina and the others to fend off the rain shinobi. This sudden change of attitude left Kushina and the others stunned. Just yesterday, they had been at each other's throats, yet now, they were being treated with respect and enthusiasm. It felt almost surreal. But after careful observation, Kushina and the others did not detect anything suspicious about them. Could it be that Konoha's willingness to help defend against the rain shinobi had earned their goodwill? All of this was because of one man, Kurama. Before leaving last night, Kurama had given orders. He instructed the people of Hoshigakure to treat the girls well. Kurama had relieved them of the pain caused by refining the meteorite's chakra and had also helped quell the village's internal conflicts. For the people of Hoshigakure, this was an act of immense kindness. Even though Kurama had done everything for his own reasons, his actions had inadvertently helped the village. This gratitude was one reason, and Kurama's terrifying strength was another. They feared what would happen if they did not obey Kurama's wishes. If he became displeased, he could easily wipe out their village. Kushina and the others worked together with the Hoshigakure shinobi to set a trap. Now, they just had to wait for the rain shinobi to step into it. Meanwhile, a group of rain shinobi, numbering in the dozens, was making its way toward Hoshigakure. Leading them was Jizo, a disciple of Hanzo of the Salamander. Lord Jizo, can the power of the meteorite in Hoshigakure really help us challenge the 5 great nations again? No matter how small a gain is, it's still a gain. Omegakure had suffered heavy losses during the Second Great Ninja War and was far weaker than before. At this point, any power increase was beneficial. While the meteorite's chakra was nowhere near as powerful as a tailed beast, it was still enough to strengthen their forces. Rumble. Suddenly, the ground trembled violently. The area beneath the rain shinobi collapsed, forming a massive sinkhole. Damn it. Jizo's expression darkened. By the time they attempted to escape, it was already too late. Several figures stood atop the sinkhole, looking down at them. It was Kushina and the others. Oh, there's even a familiar face. Tsunade smirked as she looked down at the trapped rain shinobi. Of course, she had to bend down slightly to see them properly. Tsunade. Jizo's eyes widened in shock. They had clashed during the Second Great Ninja War. Damn it, why are Konoha's shinobi here? And worse, it seemed like they had walked right into a trap. The mission to steal the meteorite had been a secret, yet Konoha had somehow found out. Damn Konoha. Lord Jizo, what should we do? What else? We need to get out of here. But there was no escape for the rain shinobi. Rumble. Explosions echoed as the walls of the pit erupted, triggering a controlled landslide. The shinobi of Hoshigakure had planted explosive tags to ensure the rain shinobi were buried alive. Bang. 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 The sound of shattering bones echoed through the air. Some of the rain shinobi were crushed instantly, blood seeping from beneath the rubble. For those still alive, the fight was far from over. The scent of fresh blood made Tsunade's hands tremble. She had tried her best to avoid witnessing bloodshed, but fate was cruel. Unaware of Tsunade's unease, Kushina and the others leapt into action. A true battle left no room for mercy. Adamantine sealing chains. 8 trigrams palms, revolving heaven. Sharingan. Golden chains shot out from Kushina's body, piercing through the enemy. She had long since mastered the adamantine sealing chains. Hikari unleashed the Hyuga clan's 8 trigrams palms, revolving heaven. Mikoto's Sharingan had evolved to 3 tomo, sharpening her perception. These were the results of their rigorous training under Tsunade's guidance. Now, they were proving their strength in battle. Under their combined assault, the rain shinobi were overwhelmed. Damn it! How are these Konoha shinobi this strong? The shinobi of Hoshigakure were nothing to fear. But these 3 kunoichi from Konoha. They were terrifying. Whether it was Kushina, Mikoto, or Hikari, their power had far surpassed the level of genin. The battle raged on within the sinkhole. Above them, Tsunade stared at her trembling hands. No matter how much she tried to escape it, blood would always find its way before her eyes. Dash 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 dash. There's our fix called. In Naruto, Reborn with chat group. Naruto. I aspire to become Hokage man. Naruto. Copy system. These are good. Check them out. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 17 comments 0 vote. Chapter 30. Hoshigakure 4. Tsunade, who stood above the sinkhole, looked at the blood pooled in the crater and trembled all over. As for the Rain Village shinobi, only one remained, Jizo. The scarred Jizo stared at Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari in disbelief, his heart filled with shock. Damn it, how can Konoha's genin be this strong? If it were an elite jonin from Konoha, he could accept it. He had at least fought Tsunade during the Second Shinobi War. But the 3 Konoha genin in front of him were absurdly powerful. Could it be that Konoha deliberately held back their promotions? Jizo didn't know the truth. But one thing was certain, never mess with Konoha's genin. Because Konoha's genin were the strongest. Jonin from other villages used a variety of jutsu, tricks, and strategies. Konoha's genin fought as if they were forces of nature. Kushina clapped her hands, and in no time, only one enemy remained. Mikoto, Hikari, you've gotten even stronger. Kushina said with a grin. HMPH, Kushina, don't think you're the only one improving. We're growing too, Mikoto replied. Alright, let's not argue over details. Let's finish him off first. The 3 girls exchanged glances, their teamwork flawless. Adamantine sealing chains. In an instant, the dozen of golden chains burst from Kushina's body, rushing toward Jizo. Despite his wounds, Jizo managed to evade 1, 2, even 3 chains, but he couldn't escape the 4th. Several golden chains wrapped around him tightly, leaving him completely immobilized. After all, the adamantine sealing chains could even restrain the 9 tails. A mere shinobi stood no chance. As Kushina tightened her hold, she glanced at Hikari and smirked. Hikari, your turn. Got it. Hikari assumed a battle stance, the 8 trigrams forming beneath his feet. 8 trigrams, 128 palms. A flurry of precise strikes hit Jizo's chakra points, making him cough up blood as his internal organs and meridians shattered. The last move, of course, belonged to Mikoto. Kushina chuckled. Mikoto, roast him. Regret filled Jizo's heart. Standing before him were 3 demons in human form. This wasn't a fight. It was a slaughter. Mikoto inhaled deeply and formed a single hand seal. Great fireball technique. A massive sphere of flames engulfed Jizo, reducing him to nothing but ashes. This time, the great fireball truly incinerated someone. The shinobi of Hoshigakure trembled at the sight of Konoha's trio. All of them were just girls, yet their methods were terrifying. Were all shinobi from the great nations like this? If every elite shinobi was this powerful, then their plans were pointless. Star Ninja Shinobi and the others had once dreamed of using their meteorite-enhanced abilities to rise to prominence. Now, they realized that was suicide. Hoshigakure would be better off staying in the land of bears, far away from conflicts beyond their league. After the battle, Kushina and the others looked around but couldn't find Tsunade. Hey, where's Tsunade? Kushina asked. They had been so focused on the fight, hoping to impress her. But she wasn't even watching. Kushina, Mikoto, something's wrong. Tsunade is still up there, Hikari said, activating his Byakugan. His eyes widened at what he saw. Tsunade's body was trembling slightly. She kept mumbling one word. Blood. Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari immediately understood. Tsunade was hemophobic. She had never spoken to them about it before, but the symptoms were obvious. The smell and sight of blood above the sinkhole had triggered her trauma. Without hesitation, the 3 carried Tsunade to a house within Hoshigakure. Once she was away from the battlefield, her trembling gradually lessened. The trio surrounded her, exchanging concerned glances. They had no idea how to cure hemophobia. Suddenly, Kushina thought of the being sealed inside her. Her consciousness entered the familiar dark space. Kurama, is there anything we can do for Tsunade's illness? The giant fox opened one eye, his voice gruff but amused. Kushina, have you forgotten the sealing jutsu, soul suppression seal I taught you? That's it. Kushina's face lit up. Kurama was truly incredible. The Uzumaki clan specialized in sealing techniques. But this particular technique, meant to seal away spiritual trauma, hadn't even been created by the Uzumaki. A fox had come up with it. At first, Kushina had refused to believe it. Was the creature sealed inside her really just a beast? Kurama simply scoffed in amusement. Alright, I'll take care of it. Kushina declared. Mikoto and Hikari watched her roll up her sleeves. Kushina, you have an idea? Mikoto asked. Yeah. It's worth a try. You too, protect me. Tsunade's hemophobia stemmed from deep psychological trauma. Using the soul suppression seal, Kushina would seal away the painful memories that triggered it. If a memory only brought suffering, then it was better forgotten. Sealing jutsu, soul suppression seal. Kushina pressed her palm against Tsunade's forehead, releasing countless sealing marks. Dark symbols spread across Tsunade's face, forehead, and neck. Inside Tsunade's subconscious, she relived her worst moments, the deaths of Naoki and Dan. But now, their identities had changed. They were just nameless Konoha shinobi who died in war. The pain of losing them as family and loved ones was erased. From now on, if she ever recalled them, she would only remember them as fallen comrades, not as her closest kin. The process took a long time. Seal. Kushina shouted, sending the final set of runes into Tsunade's mind. Black markings faded. Phew, it's finally done. Kushina wiped sweat from her brow, exhausted. Even as an Uzumaki, this sealing technique had drained her. Tsunade had fallen into a deep sleep. Kushina let out a tired chuckle. Mikoto, Hikari, the rest is up to you. I need to rest. With that, she collapsed onto Tsunade's body. Fast asleep. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 26 comments 0 vote. Chapter 31, Hoshigakure Final. Tsunade rubbed her hazy eyes. It was already the second day. Oh, Kushina, you are crushing me. The first thing Tsunade saw when she opened her eyes was Kushina's sleeping form. It was a large sleeping figure lying on top of her. She also used her breasts she was proud of as a pillow. This little girl really knows how to enjoy herself. She patted Kushina's little head and said softly. Kushina, wake up. Kushina was comfortable. But Tsunade's whole body was numb. Of course, Kurama inside Kushina also felt comfortable and smiled happily. Hey, Tsunade-sensei, you're awake. Uchiha Mikoto and Hyuga Hikari walked in from outside. Kushina rubbed her eyes and woke up too. Kushina woke up and gave Tsunade a big hug as soon as she woke up. Tsunade-ne, you finally woke up. I slept so comfortably. Tsunade only remembered that after they dealt with the rain shinobi, they went back to Hoshigakure to rest. In order to test the effect of the sealing technique, Kushina asked subconsciously. Tsunade-ne, do you know Dan? Dan. Who is Dan? Do I know him? Is he a ninja of our village? 3 questions in a row. Tsunade looked at Kushina with a confused expression. No, it's okay. We thought you knew him, Tsunade-ne, ha, 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 ha. Kushina laughed awkwardly. Mikoto and Hikari pulled Kushina aside. Kushina, is Tsunade-sensei's hemophobia really cured? Could she be just pretending to worry us? Well, you'll know after you try it. It was the first time Tsunade saw such strange actions from her 3 students. Hey, you 3 brats, what are you doing? The mission has been completed. We can go back to the village. Kushina directly cut her arm with a kunai, causing blood to flow. The Kurama in her body called her a bold one. Kushina, you are using your life to prove it. Immediately, Kushina showed her true qualities as a drama queen. She ran to Tsunade's side, crying. I accidentally cut my hand while playing with a kunai. Mikoto and Hikari echoed. Yeah, Kushina is too careless. Tsunade glanced at the bloody arm and smiled proudly. This little injury is nothing. Don't forget my title as a shinobi. The medical saint of the ninja world. She performed medical ninjutsu. In the blink of an eye, the bleeding stopped. Not only that, there were no traces of the wound. The mission in Hoshigakure was successfully completed. Tsunade and the others returned to Konoha. The 3rd Hokage had great praise for Tsunade's team. Well, Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, Hyuga Hikari, you all performed very well on this mission. Completing an A-rank mission but getting B-rank rewards. This saved Konoha a lot of money. Of course, the 3rd Hokage wouldn't tell them that. Leaving the Hokage's office, Tsunade was very honest with her disciples about the difficulty of the mission. What, this was an A-rank mission? That old man, the 3rd Hokage, is so cruel. He gave us B-rank rewards. What a cheapskate. However, Kushina and the others thought that being able to complete an A-rank mission also proved that their strength had improved a lot. Tsunade was very dissatisfied with the 3rd Hokage about the salary deduction. How could she gamble without money? The top brass of Konoha were all stingy. After completing a mission of this difficulty, Kushina and the others could take a good rest. Kushina returned home and immediately entered the sealed space. Kurama, is it because of you that the attitude of those guys in Hoshigakure attitude changed 180 degrees? This little girl had quite a keen sense. I'm responsible for that change. Wow, Kurama, you are really amazing. Kushina admired the big fox even more. Kushina, we have to take action. Kurama said word for word in his deep voice. What action? Live your dream and become Hokage. Kushina chuckled. Kurama, this is not difficult, right? You control my body, kill that old man 3rd Hokage, and then become Hokage. Kill anyone who disobeys. Being powerful meant being so confident. Kurama. Ninjas aren't just about fighting and killing. It's about being humane. Kushina had been led astray by Kurama. Kurama told her that the destruction of Uzushiogakure had something to do with Konoha. At that time, Konoha was under pressure from Kumogakure, but there should have been extra troops to reinforce Uzushiogakure. Otherwise, Uzushiogakure wouldn't have been attacked in such an overwhelming assault. Even if they perished, most of their clan members should have survived. It wouldn't be like now, with only a few scattered around the world. When the 1st Hokage married Uzumaki Mito, it showed the friendly relationship between Konoha and Uzushiogakure. After the 1st Hokage's death, who would recognize that bond? The terrifying power of the Uzumaki clan made Konoha F4 in village fearful. Therefore, the demise of Uzushiogakure was also something Konoha wanted to see. Konoha would never allow an external power to rival them. Even some of the shinobi who attacked Uzushiogakure were from Konoha. They just changed their forehead protectors, vests, and identities. Even Uzumaki Mito in Konoha was kept in the dark about this. After Kurama told her this, Kushina decided to become Hokage herself. Konoha village should be under her control. With Kurama in her body, anyone who refused to obey would be eliminated. Kushina, think about it, if everyone in Konoha refuses to obey you and you kill them all, would it be interesting to be Hokage alone? Kushina chuckled. That seems to be the case. It seemed that Naruto's naive and idealistic nature was inherited from his mother. So, Kurama, what should we do? Power is not just about strength. It also requires influence. Don't you have a best friend from the Uchiha clan and a best friend from the Hyuga clan? Help them gain control of their clans first. Yes, Mikoto and Hikari. Kushina suddenly realized. She believed they would support her. I'm in a good mood today, so I'll let you use my power. Kushina was stunned. Using the power of the Nine Tails. Ahaha, Kurama, you finally let me use your power. Excited, Kushina pounced on Kurama's tail. It was so fluffy and comfortable. After waiting for so long, she finally gained access to the power of the Nine Tails. Dear readers, join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 29 comments 0 vote. Chapter 32, Power. The Power of the Nine Tails. Kushina still vividly remembered what the Nine Tails had once told her. If I'm in a good mood, you can use my power. As a Jinchuriki, Kushina had never actively wielded the immense power sealed within her. Even during her previous training, when she had fought Tsunade for the bell test, it was Kurama, the Nine Tails himself, who had intervened of his own accord. But now, he had decided that the time had come. Kushina needed to familiarize herself with his power. Standing in front of the massive fox, she clenched her fists tightly, her violet eyes filled with anticipation. Kurama's deep, knowing gaze locked onto hers before he released a shadow of his red chakra. The dense, fiery energy surged forward, wrapping around her body before fusing directly into her core. An intricate Uzumaki spiral manifested on her abdomen, marking the connection. In an instant, her entire body became engulfed in golden flames. This was the embodiment of the Nine Tails chakra. Kushina stared at her hands, astonishment written all over her face. She had become a living beacon, glowing like a miniature sun in the darkness. This is incredible. Pick here. This form was known as the Nine Tails Chakra Mode. In the future, Naruto would attain this power through the combined guidance of Killer Bee and his mother, but Kushina had reached this state through her own willpower and her complete bond with Kurama. Her speed, she realized, had increased exponentially. In this state, she could rival the Raikage in sheer velocity. The chakra itself pulsed with warmth, brimming with boundless energy. She took a step forward, and in the blink of an eye, she reappeared meters away. A sharp intake of breath escaped her lips, the power was intoxicating. Moreover, she could now sense malice. It was as if an invisible veil had been lifted from her perception, allowing her to feel the negative emotions around her, a trait unique to the Nine Tails chakra. Kurama's deep voice rumbled in her mind. So, Kushina, how does it feel? A wide grin spread across her face. This is amazing, Kurama. I will love you till death. Kurama scoffed but allowed a faint smirk to tug at the corners of his massive maw. HMPH. Don't get too carried away. This is only the beginning. Does the power feel overwhelming? Kushina shook her head, her wild red hair swaying with the movement. Nope. No matter how much power you give me, I can handle it. Unlike Naruto, who was only a half-blood Uzumaki, Kushina was a pureblood. Her immense chakra reserves made her uniquely suited to withstand Kurama's power in its entirety. Kurama let out a low chuckle. Then let's take this further. Experience the transformation from one tail to full nine tails. The golden glow around her shifted into a sinister crimson. A bubbling aura formed around her body, thick and ominous. One tail sprouted from her back, then another, and another. By the time she reached four tails, the corrosive chakra darkened her skin, giving her a demonic, fox-like form. At this stage, even Orochimaru's Kusanagi blade wouldn't be able to pierce her. At six tails, a skeletal structure formed around her frame, reinforcing her transformation. She could feel the primal fury, the raw destruction begging to be unleashed. But she held firm, reveling in the sheer power coursing through her veins. By the time she reached the complete nine-tailed state, she towered over the land, her body a mirror image of Kurama himself. Kushina let out a deep breath, her heartbeat thunderous in her ears. Damn, Kurama. You're too powerful. Kurama grinned. And this isn't even my final form. Kushina's eyes widened. Wait, there's more. Indeed. You haven't yet entered that mode. His voice was low, almost teasing. That's the true perfect Jinchuriki state. In that form, I will expand into pure chakra, manifesting as a complete entity alongside you. Kushina's fingers curled into a fist. The idea of reaching such a level thrilled her. But she knew better than to get ahead of herself. Kurama's voice softened. However, listen to me carefully, Kushina. Do not let the higher-ups in Konoha know that you have become a perfect Jinchuriki. Kushina's playful demeanor shifted. Her expression turned sharp. Yeah, I understand. I won't let them know. For now, she would only inform the third Hokage and the others that she was gradually mastering portions of the Nine Tails' power. After all, she was the inheritor of the Will of Fire. She would protect Konoha, but not under the command of its corrupt elite. She would protect the village by standing above them all. And she owed it all to Kurama. Meanwhile, in the High Council chambers of Konoha, a crucial meeting was taking place. The third Hokage sat at the head of the table, flanked by Danzo, Homura, and Kaharu. The future of the village was the topic of discussion. Hiruzen Sarutobi leaned back, puffing on his pipe with satisfaction. Danzo, as you can see, we didn't need Anbu to monitor her. We concealed her status as a Jinchuriki, let her integrate into the academy like a normal student, and now the results speak for themselves. Danzo scoffed, arms crossed. TCH. Much as he hated to admit it, Kushina's current performance was proof that the third Hokage's approach had worked. Hiruzen's smile widened at Danzo's silence. He loved moments like these, when Danzo was forced to acknowledge his methods as superior. Hiruzen, don't be careless, Danzo finally bit out. That Uzumaki girl has yet to fully control the Nine Tails' power. Why are you so anxious about that? Hiruzen exhaled another puff of smoke, unbothered. Even Lady Mito never mastered the Nine Tails entirely. Kushina still has time. The important thing is that she belongs to Konoha, not to you, Danzo. Danzo's single visible eye twitched. Hiruzen, you. Hiruzen, you will regret it, Danzo shouted. Danzo, I'm Hokage, Hiruzen added. Humph. Hiruzen waved a dismissive hand. Relax, Danzo. Have some faith. This was the daily routine in the council, Danzo and Hiruzen butting heads. And truth be told, Hiruzen rather enjoyed it. Danzo had always been his rival, his shadow counterpart, and the greatest thorn in his side. But in a strange way, their antagonism had become a fundamental part of his life. Still, regardless of Danzo's paranoia, Hiruzen felt proud. Konoha was thriving. The Will of Fire was alive and strong. And with Kushina growing into her role, the village would only become stronger. Little did he know, Kushina was already steps ahead of him. Her loyalty was to the village, yes. But her trust in its leadership. That was a different matter entirely. And soon, Konoha would realize just how much power their Jinchuriki truly wielded. Dash 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 dash. Dear readers, join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 22 comments 0 vote. Chapter 33, Chunin Exams 1. The third Hokage and Danzo were at each other's throats. Danzo, usually composed, looked utterly deflated. Homura and Kaharu, standing to the side, barely held back their laughter at the rare sight of their old comrade being put in his place. As ninjas of the same era, they had all been acquaintances for decades, but moments like these reminded them of their shared history. For the first time in years, the third Hokage and Homura noticed something unusual. When Kaharu smiled, there was a certain charm about her. The deep lines on her face, the slight curve of her lips, an unexpected beauty hidden beneath the years of war and leadership. Why didn't I notice this when we were younger? Hiruzen wondered silently. Even the ever-stoic Danzo cast a brief glance at Udatane Kaharu. But, unlike Danzo, Hiruzen immediately averted his gaze. He had a lustful heart but lacked the courage to act on it, especially when the wrath of Sarutobi Bawako, his formidable wife, loomed over him. The mere thought of Bawako catching him looking at another woman sent a shiver down his spine. Kneeling on a washboard was not a fate befitting the Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. He still remembered the time he and Jiraiya had been caught peeping at the women's bathhouse. Bawako had dragged him through the streets, showing no regard for his title. The entire village had seen his humiliation firsthand. The memory of villagers whispering behind his back was enough to keep him from making the same mistake again. Ahem. A cough snapped him out of his thoughts. Mitokado Homura, regaining his composure, said, "Third Hokage, what are your thoughts on the upcoming Chunin exam?" The Chunin exam. Here is inside. The exam was a vital event, allowing major nations to assess each other's military strength. But with the Second Shinobi War only recently ending, every village already had a rough idea of where they stood. The current priority was recovery and stability, not rivalry. Most villages had abandoned the inter-village Chunin exams for now, opting instead for internal promotions. Konoha would follow suit, ensuring that its young shinobi were promoted based on skill rather than risking unnecessary casualties. Too many had already been lost in the war. With the policy decided, the high-ranking members of Konoha disbanded the meeting. A few days later, at a local barbecue restaurant, a gathering took place. The new Konoha's 12 had assembled, a rare reunion of the village's most promising young shinobi. The first team, led by Tsunade, consisted of Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, and Hyuga Hikari. The second team, originally under Jiraiya, had been disbanded, leaving Uchiha Fugaku, Namikaze Minato, and Aburame Shibi as independent ninjas. The fourth team, led by Hitaki Sakumo, included Nara Shikaku, Akamichi Choza, and Yamanaka Inoichi. And lastly, Team 8, under Sarutobi Yaomaru, consisted of Hyuga Hazashi, Inazuka Sume, and Character 1. Many of them were still genin, while a few had already advanced to special jonin. Jiraiya had long since left Konoha to wander the world, leaving his former students to forge their own paths. Uchiha Fugaku, Namikaze Minato, and Aburame Shibi had since become special jonin, each excelling in their respective roles. Fugaku had even joined the Konoha military police force, a position of power within the Uchiha clan. At reunions like these, those three were the ones to show off. Among them, Fugaku carried himself with the most authority, embodying both his Uchiha pride and his status as a clan elite. Kushina leaned in close to Mikoto and whispered, "Mikoto, is that Fugaku guy still bothering you?" Mikoto smirked. "Nope. Thanks to the art of speaking you taught me, I have complete peace." "Wait, that actually worked." Kushina looked skeptical. Mikoto chuckled but didn't reveal the full story. She knew Fugaku had redirected his attention elsewhere, to Minato, of all people. Minato himself was baffled by this sudden shift in Fugaku's behavior. Back when they were still under Jiraiya, Fugaku had been distant but cordial. Yet, ever since a certain mission where Minato had saved Fugaku's life from a group of Cloud Nin, Fugaku had changed. He now visited Minato regularly, insisting on strengthening their bond as comrades. Minato found it both confusing and exhausting. Kushina, amused, retreated into her mindscape, where the nine tails lay dormant. "Hey, Kurama, you really are amazing. You said Fugaku would stop bothering Mikoto, and he actually did. Did you use some kind of mind trick?" The fox's deep voice rumbled in response. "No trick, just a simple redirection. Now, all his attention is on that golden-haired boy." Kushina scoffed. "Minato's not bad-looking, I guess, but he's not my type." Kurama chuckled in amusement, enjoying the irony. Kushina, known for her brash and direct nature, had no idea how deep this game of human emotions could run. Shaking her head, Kushina refocused on the present. As the night went on, the drinks flowed freely. The younger shinobi relaxed in each other's company, some indulging in lighthearted boasting, others quietly reflecting on how much had changed since their academy days. Fugaku, emboldened by the alcohol, clapped a hand on Hyuga Hazashi's shoulder. "Hazashi. You represent the Hyuga, and I represent the Uchiha. Tonight, we drink to the prosperity of our clans and the strength of Konoha." Hazashi, slightly wary but too polite to refuse, raised his cup in response. But Fugaku wasn't done. The alcohol loosened his tongue, and his next words turned the atmosphere ice cold. "I heard your father died in the Second Shinobi War. What a coincidence, so did mine." Silence fell over the table. Drinks were momentarily forgotten, cups left hanging midair as everyone processed what had just been said. A few of them choked on their drinks, coughing violently as they tried to suppress their shock. The sheer bluntness of Fugaku's statement was staggering. Dash 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 dash. Dear readers, join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. 28 comments 0 vote. Download the app for greater interaction. You can chat with me about my writing experience apart from the comments section. Uzumaki_Kushina_21. Download app now. Chapter 34, Chunin Exams 2. After hearing Fugaku's words, everyone suppressed their laughter. Well, unless you really couldn't help it. How wonderful. There were once ancient sages who uttered truth after drinking. And now there was Fugaku, the true, filial son, after drinking. No wonder he could produce a son with such a twisted sense of duty like Itachi. Fugaku could write a book. The title. My Patriarch Father. Guaranteed to be a bigger hit than Jiraiya's, Make Out Paradise. When several Uchiha clan members arrived to escort Fugaku back home, they were met with resistance. Fugaku, drunk out of his mind, waved them off stubbornly. No. I want to stay here. Stay with Minato. If I have to go back, I want Minato to come with me. Minato, ever the gentleman, could only sigh and take responsibility for getting Fugaku home. It was going to be a long night. A few days later, the Chunin exams officially began. This time, there was only one test, and the location was the Forest of Death. The task was simple: enter the Forest of Death and reach the central tower. But the path was littered with obstacles. There were numerous traps, as well as Konoha Chunin and even Jonin-level shadow clones acting as opponents. Each team consisted of 3 members. Forming alliances with other teams was strictly forbidden, violators would be immediately disqualified. A ninja's true worth lay in their ability. This exam was designed to test exactly that. There were no written tests, no theoretical knowledge assessments, only skill, instinct, and survival. A ninja's ultimate goal was to fight on the battlefield and eliminate threats. With the scars of the Second Shinobi War still fresh, Konoha was in dire need of strong shinobi to shape the village's future. The lack of a written exam was a godsend for Kushina Uzumaki. Kushina, along with Uchiha Mikoto and Hyuga Hikari, were itching to get started. Mikoto, Hikari, let's reach the tower first, alright. Mikoto and Hikari both rolled their eyes at Kushina's boundless energy. Unlike her, they didn't have the stamina of a berserker. Both of them shook their heads. The proctor of the Chunin exams this time was Hitaki Tsukumo. Standing beside him was a small child wearing a mask. His son, Hitaki Kakashi. Kakashi was barely 3 years old, yet Tsukumo took him everywhere like a dedicated babysitter whenever he wasn't on a mission. Tsukumo's voice rang out across the crowd. You all know the rules of the exam. The test begins now. The gates to the Forest of Death swung open, and the candidates flooded in. This Chunin exam included several prominent figures. Besides Kushina's team, there was the Ino Shika Cho trio, Inoichi Yamanaka, Shikaku Nara, and Choza Akamichi, as well as Hyuga Hizashi, Inazuka Sume, and a few others. 15 teams. 45 participants in total. The oldest contestant. A genin in his 40s. The infamous, Eternal Genin. As the students disappeared into the Forest of Death, Hitaki Tsukumo let out a breath. Chunin exams. I hope they all make it through. While the Chunin and Jonin shadow clones wouldn't kill any examinees, the forest itself was an unforgiving predator. Wild beasts, deadly traps, death was a real possibility. This was the ninja world. Only the strong survived. If this were an official Chunin exam with other villages participating, the risks would be even greater. But given the current circumstances, this was Konoha's best option. Not long after stepping into the Forest of Death, Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari encountered a giant snake. The creature slithered forward, hunger gleaming in its reptilian eyes. Its jaws widened as it lunged toward them. Kushina clicked her tongue. Ah. Gross. Mikoto, roast it. Mikoto sighed. Kushina, you're the worst commander ever. Still, she moved without hesitation. Fire release, fire dragon technique. A searing wave of fire erupted, engulfing the snake in an inferno. Flames spread across the trees, filling the air with the scent of roasted meat. The giant snake barely had time to let out a final screech before it collapsed, charred and motionless. Kushina grinned, tearing off a chunk of cooked meat. Not bad. Snake meat actually tastes pretty good. After refueling, the trio continued toward the central tower at full speed. Meanwhile, in another part of the forest, the Ino Shika Cho team encountered an unexpected obstacle. Uchiha Fugaku's shadow clone. The clone blocked their path, an amused smirk tugging at its lips. Inoichi, Shikaku, Choza, if you want to pass, you'll have to prove you're strong enough. Shikaku sighed. Great. Just my luck. Though it was only a shadow clone, Fugaku was still an Uchiha. His strength wasn't something to take lightly. His Sharingan activated, red eyes spinning with 3 tomo. At this point, no one in the Uchiha clan had awakened the Mangekyo Sharingan. The only one known to have done so was Madara Uchiha himself, and the method to awaken it remained a mystery. Fugaku wasn't the clan leader yet. With his father having died in the war, the Uchiha clan was currently led by a council of elders. Shadow imitation technique. Choza barreled forward like a human wrecking ball, while Shikaku's shadow shot toward Fugaku's clone. Yamanaka Inoichi stood at the ready, prepared to use his mind transfer technique at the perfect moment. The battle began in earnest. In the central tower of the Death Forest, a sigh echoed through the hall. What? No one's arrived yet. Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari stood in the empty hall, looking around in disbelief. Back in the surveillance room, a Chunin rushed toward Hitaki Tsukumo in a panic. Tsukumo-sama. A new record has been set. Tsukumo raised an eyebrow. What, someone already reached the central tower? Yes, sir. It only took them 1 hour and 4 seconds. This is the fastest time ever recorded in the Chunin exams. Tsukumo blinked. Then, the corners of his lips twitched. That was way too fast. Plus. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Check out other novels. Haikyuu, The Unstoppable Force. Marvel, I'm in Westview Town. 20 comments 0 vote. Chapter 35, Chunin Exam 3. 1 hour and 4 seconds. That was too fast. Which team they are? Hitaki Tsukumo asked curiously. The first team led by Tsunade-sama, the proctor replied. The students are Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, and Hyuga Hikari. Oh. A Hyuga and an Uchiha in the same squad. Interesting. Tsukumo mused, rubbing his chin. Unlike previous exams, this time, they didn't have to fight other genin to the death in the Forest of Death. Still, 1 hour and 4 seconds was far too fast. Even without traps and the interference of Chunin-level shadow clones, reaching the central tower in such a short span should have been nearly impossible. If they hadn't even taken a short rest, they might have been even faster. Inside the Hokage's office, several proctors rushed in, their faces full of urgency. Lord Hokage, the list of the first batch of Chunin has been finalized. Already? That fast? Hiruzen Sarutobi raised an eyebrow. Yes, Lord Hokage. Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, and Hyuga Hikari reached the central tower of the Forest of Death in just 1 hour and 4 seconds. 1 hour and 4 seconds. The third Hokage's eyes widened slightly. Even without the usual hazards, this speed was unnatural. Tsunade's disciples. A pleased smile crossed Hiruzen's face. It seemed that these three had already surpassed the level of ordinary Chunin. I see. The students of this team are no ordinary shinobi. Konoha was in need of fresh blood, and the emergence of such talented individuals gave him hope for the future. Kushina's team was the first to arrive. The second team arrived 5 hours later. Gradually, more Konoha genin reached the central tower, Ino Shika Cho, Hyuga Hazashi, Inazuka Sume, and Namikaze Minato among them. By the end of the day, Konoha's internal Chunin exams had concluded. Out of 45 participants, 36 passed the assessment. As for the remaining 9, they weren't as lucky. Some became prey to the beasts lurking in the forest. Others fell victim to traps. Some drowned, unable to gather chakra properly to walk on water. But that was the nature of the ninja world. It was ruthless. Still, even Naruto and Sasuke had struggled with tree climbing at first. Naruto himself had needed extensive practice to master water walking. Despite the casualties, the village had no choice. After the Second Shinobi War, there was a dire shortage of skilled ninja. As a result, all 36 successful candidates were promoted to Chunin. The Chunin exams were over. To celebrate, Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari gathered together that evening. As they were laughing and enjoying their meal, Hyuga Hazashi walked in, his posture as rigid as ever. Hikari-sama, there is an urgent matter in the clan. Please return immediately. Hikari nodded, her face unreadable. Understood. She turned to her friends. I'll see you later. As soon as she left, Mikoto frowned. Kushina, don't you think something seems off about Hikari? Kushina leaned back, arms crossed behind her head. Yeah, but if she doesn't want to talk about it, we can't force her. Mikoto blinked in surprise. Huh. That's oddly mature of you. PFF'd, what's the rush? Kushina grinned mischievously. If she doesn't open up, we'll just march into the Hyuga compound and find out ourselves. Mikoto sighed. Never mind. There's the old Kushina. The next morning, within the central tower of the Forest of Death, the third Hokage addressed the newly promoted Chunin. You are the future of Konoha. From this day forward, you bear greater responsibility. Kushina and her team stood in the front row, listening, or pretending to listen. As shinobi of Konoha, we will dedicate ourselves to the village. They all chanted in unison. Kurama stirred within Kushina, chuckling darkly. This old man sure knows how to manipulate people, the Nine Tails muttered. The same trick worked on Uchiha Shisui and Uchiha Itachi. He's got them all dancing in the palm of his hand. He wasn't wrong. Sarutobi Hiruzen might not have the sheer might of Hashirama or the tactical genius of Tobirama, but his ability to earn the unwavering loyalty of powerful shinobi was his greatest strength. Even those who wielded the Mangekyo Sharingan, like Shisui and Itachi, ultimately served the village, and, by extension, the Hokage himself. Education and ideology were powerful tools. As the third Hokage continued his speech, Kushina and Mikoto, completely tuned out. Mikoto had been thoroughly corrupted by Kushina's bad habits. Listening to boring speeches. No way. Time passed. Before they knew it, Kushina and her teammates had risen to the rank of Jonin. Their first A-rank mission came swiftly. Recently, Sunagaku's shinobi had been spotted lurking near the borders of the Land of Fire. Their objective was unclear, but Konoha wasn't taking any chances. The mission: eliminate the threat. These kinds of political games between major villages were always a delicate affair. A single mistake could escalate into all-out war. And with tensions simmering beneath the surface, a third shinobi war wasn't out of the question. The night before the mission, however, was special. It was Kushina's birthday. After a small celebration with Mikoto and Hikari, Kushina returned to her now empty home. The warmth of the evening lingered, but she couldn't shake the loneliness that crept in once she was alone. The night stretched on. Sleep evaded her. With a sigh, she slipped outside to wander through the quiet streets of Konoha, taking in the peaceful night. Ding! A familiar voice echoed in her mind, breaking the silence. Kurama stirred. Given the current status of the host, two options are now available. Option 1. Reveal your true identity to the Jinchuriki. Reward. Option 2. Continue as the Nine Tails sealed within the Jinchuriki. Reward. A choice. Kurama narrowed his eyes. The rewards were hidden. He hated that. Tomorrow, he'd be heading to the Land of Wind, perhaps even running into that oversized raccoon, Shukaku. But now, another thought crossed his mind. He had been hiding for too long. Tonight, perhaps it was finally time for the truth. A surprise. No. For Kushina, it would be a shock. Plus. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Check out other novels. Haikyuu, The Unstoppable Force. Marvel, I'm in Westview Town. 26 comments 0 vote. Chapter 36, Reveal. Originally, Kurama had always been distant, but now he was about to show a different side of himself. Kushina took one last look at the peaceful night sky over Konoha before returning home. As she walked, her consciousness drifted into the sealed space within her. Kurama, didn't you say you wanted to help Mikoto awaken her Mangekyo Sharingan and take control of the Uchiha clan? Kurama's deep, rumbling voice resonated within the space. We'll act immediately after this mission to the Land of Wind is completed. Kurama had his own reasons for traveling to the Land of Wind. His true goal was Shukaku, the one-tailed beast. Kushina hesitated for a moment before speaking again. This wasn't like her usual lively and optimistic self. What's wrong, Kushina? Kurama, today is my birthday. Can you say happy birthday to me? Her large, expectant eyes gazed up at the massive fox. For someone like Kushina, who had lost her home and been displaced, coming to Konoha was supposed to mean a fresh start. She had hoped to live a normal life, but her fate had been sealed the moment she became the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. She had lost Uzumaki Mito, the woman who had loved her like a grandmother, and without Kurama, she wasn't sure how she would have endured it all. Despite the world painting the tailed beasts as monsters, Kushina had learned that they weren't as terrifying as people claimed. Memories flooded her mind, and in this moment, what she wanted most was a simple birthday wish from the fox within her. Kurama's 9 massive tails swayed lazily behind him. He grinned, revealing rows of sharp fangs. Kushina, how old are you today? 15. She replied seriously. 15, huh? You've grown up, Kushina. I suppose I won't call you a brat anymore. He crossed his arms over his chest, putting on an air of arrogance. Kushina, happy birthday. Kushina's red eyes widened in surprise at his sincere words. Her lips trembled before she let out a wail. Wah, Kurama, you're being so serious. I'm so touched. Tears spilled from her eyes, but she wiped them away quickly. After crying a little longer, she sniffled and looked up at him again. Kurama, can I make an unreasonable request? Kurama's ears twitched. Unreasonable. Forget it. Kushina immediately waved her hands in protest. No, no. It's not unreasonable at all. I just want to ask if I can touch your tails. She still remembered the one time she had touched them, how soft and comfortable they were. That fluffy warmth had stayed in her mind ever since. Kurama scoffed. You make it sound like my tails are some kind of rare treasure. Kushina clasped her hands together and gave him her best puppy dog eyes. Just once, Kurama. Pretty please. Kurama sighed, then gave a reluctant nod. Kushina beamed. Yay. Kurama, I love you so much. But instead of just touching his tails, she threw herself into them, burying her entire body in the soft fur. Kurama felt a strange warmth at the sentiment but kept his expression neutral. However, he quickly realized his mistake as Kushina clung to his tails, refusing to let go. Kurama, this is the best birthday gift ever. Kurama let out a low growl. Enough already. She ignored him, snuggling further into the fluff. Finally, Kurama lost his patience and unceremoniously kicked her out of the sealed space. The next thing Kushina knew, she was back in front of her house, still pouting. Kurama is so stingy. He wouldn't even let me touch them for a little longer. She sighed dramatically and pushed open the door to her room, only to freeze at the sight of a figure sitting there. Who the hell is in my room? Her hand instinctively reached for a kunai as she stepped forward, but as she got a better look at the intruder, she stopped. Sitting casually on her bed was a man with striking orange hair and familiar, slit-pupiled red eyes. Kushina's mouth fell open in shock. Handsome guy. Who are you? For some reason, he felt oddly familiar, but she couldn't quite place it. The man smirked and spread his hands. Wow. 1 second, you're telling me you love me, and the next, you're acting like you don't even know me. That voice. That smirk. Those piercing red eyes. Kushina gasped, her hands trembling slightly as she pointed at him. Why you? Or you, Kurama? Who else? His lips curled, revealing sharp fangs in an almost playful manner. Kushina let out an excited squeal before launching herself at him, running her hands through his hair. Wow, Kurama, it's really you. Your hair is so soft. She ruffled it enthusiastically, her fingers sinking into the thick orange strands. Kurama let out an exaggerated sigh. Is this all humans think about? First my tails, now my hair. Kushina barely heard him, too engrossed in the sensation. Kurama, is this because your real body is too big to fit here? Obviously. My full form would tear this place apart. So, you used the transformation jutsu. Kushina continued running her hands along his arms, poking at his muscles, then tracing her fingers along his shoulders. She was absolutely fascinated. Kurama smirked. You think this is a transformation? Kushina paused and looked up at him, her expression filled with curiosity. Wait. This isn't a jutsu. Then this is your real form. Kurama nodded, leaning back on her bed. Took you long enough to figure that out. Kushina blinked in surprise. So this is how you actually look when you take human form. That's kinda cool. She resumed touching him, this time, patting his arms, poking at his cheeks, even tugging at the tips of his hair. Kurama, for all his usual indifference, finally twitched in irritation. Hey, Kushina, that's enough. You're starting to get too handsy. Kushina retracted her hands instantly, her face flushing. I'm just amazed. Your transformation, no, your actual form is too realistic. Even your. Kurama shot her a warning glare before she could finish that sentence. She coughed awkwardly and averted her eyes. Anyway. Kurama, you showing up like this is the best birthday gift ever. Kurama chuckled, a rare, amused glint in his eyes. Enjoy it while it lasts, brat. And for the first time in a long while, Kushina felt truly happy. Plus. First bonus chapter 350 Power Stones. Second bonus chapter 700 Power Stones. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Check out other novels. Haikyuu, The Unstoppable Force. Marvel, I'm in Westview Town. Rolling on the floor laughing rolling on the floor laughing rolling on the floor laughing. I never realized a guy could be this beautiful, he thought. Under this moonlit sky, it felt as if Minato outshone everything else in existence. Minato, how did you get here so quickly? Fugaku finally asked. Minato squinted his eyes and smiled warmly. Because you're an important companion to me. At those words, Fugaku's eyes widened slightly. Important companion. At this moment, he finally understood why Mikoto was so obsessed with Kushina. Is this something that can be acceptable? Of course, Minato had no idea what was going through Fugaku's mind. Kurama's observed this situation. Elsewhere, Kurama, sealed within Kushina, received a system notification. Ding. Mission complete. Namikaze Minato has successfully rescued Uchiha Fugaku. Their bond has deepened. Kurama chuckled. As expected of Minato. He never disappoints. Kushina, who is linked to Minato's chakra, also sensed the outcome of the battle. Kurama, it seems like Minato saved Fugaku, she said. She could clearly sense the familiar chakra signatures of Minato and Fugaku heading back toward the village. Yes, Kushina-chan. And now, Uchiha Fugaku won't be bothering Mikoto anymore. Dear readers. Join Patreon for 50 advanced chapters. Web links. Your support is truly appreciated, it means a lot to me. Check out other novels. Haikyuu, The Unstoppable Force. Marvel, I'm in Westview Town. 33 comments 0 vote. Chapter 25, Second Ninja War. The aftermath of the Second Ninja War. The Second Ninja War, which had lasted on and off for many years, had finally come to an end. In the end, Konoha, the hidden leaf village of the Fire Nation, emerged victorious. However, while the war had officially ended, small-scale conflicts continued to break out along the borders of various nations. The situation remained unstable, with skirmishes occurring frequently. The backbone of Konoha, including powerful shinobi like Orochimaru, Jiraiya and Tsunade, often had to shuttle back and forth between the village and the front lines. They were responsible for handling the aftermath of the war, ensuring stability, and keeping Konoha's interests protected. Not long after Tsunade took Kushina Uzumaki as her student, she was called back to the front lines to deal with post-war matters. During this war, Tsunade had earned the title of one of the legendary Sannin, and gained immense respect throughout the ninja world. However, her achievements came at a heavy price. She lost both her younger brother, Naoki, and the man she loved, Dan Kato. When Naoki died, Kushina and her peers were still attending the ninja academy. She had met Naoki a few times while visiting Uzumaki Mito, the wife of the first Hokage, Hashirama Senju. When the news of Naoki's death reached her, Kushina had burst into tears in the middle of street. Even though she hadn't known him for long, she had seen his enthusiasm, his desire to become Hokage, and his unwavering belief in protecting the village. And now, before she, Uchiha Mikoto, and Hyuga Hikari had even completed a proper mission under Tsunade, they were being separated again. Kurama, is this what war is? Kushina asked, her voice carrying a mixture of sorrow and anger. Yes, Kushina-chan, the nine tails rumbled in her mind. Didn't your home, Uzushiogakur, disappear the same way? That reminder sent a chill down Kushina's spine. The destruction of her homeland, the loss of her people, everything was coming back to her. She clenched her fists. The war might have been over for now, but it had left deep scars. If peace was temporary, then true strength was the only way to protect what mattered. With Tsunade away on the battlefield, Kushina, Mikoto, and Hikari dedicated themselves to training, determined to improve. They wanted to give Tsunade a surprise when she returned, to show her how much they had grown. They knew that the world wasn't going to remain peaceful forever. One day, it would be their turn to step onto the battlefield. A ninja had to be prepared for war, even in times of peace. The Second Ninja War had been fueled by the vast economic disparity between nations. The poor remained poor, while the rich continued to flourish. Militant factions had begun to rise, each seeking to claim more territory and resources for themselves. These tensions had eventually ignited full-scale war. Kushina ran a hand through her long red hair, twirling a strand between her fingers. Kurama, she murmured, I've been thinking. If the entire ninja world became a single nation, wouldn't that stop wars? Kurama let out a low, rumbling chuckle. A good idea, but you need the power to make it happen. Kushina's eyes burned with determination. Then I'll gain that power. Even if there are internal conflicts, I'll have absolute strength to suppress them. She wasn't just aiming to become Hokage anymore. She wanted something bigger, to change the world itself. And once she set her mind on something, she never backed down. There are still many battles of the Second Great Ninja War. The land of rain, caught between the land of wind, the land of fire, and the land of earth, had been ravaged by war for years. It was a prime battleground, constantly suffering from conflicts between larger nations. This time, Hanzo the Salamander, the leader of Omegakure, had declared war on the land of Iron, Konoha, and Sunagakure, hoping to shift the balance in his favor and expand his territory. Konoha had fought battles against both Omegakure's Rain Shinobi and Sunagakure's Sand Shinobi. Leading Konoha's forces against the Sand Shinobi was none other than Hitaki Tsukumo, the feared White Fang of Konoha. During this war, Tsukumo had clashed with Sasori's parents, ultimately killing them in battle. This loss would later shape Sasori into the feared puppet master he would become. Meanwhile, Sand Shinobi elder Chiyo had been one of the most dangerous figures on the battlefield, but her deadly poisons were repeatedly countered by Tsunade. It was in this war that Tsunade's legend as the greatest medical ninja spread far and wide. Battle against Hanzo is very famous. In Konoha's fight against Omegakure, the third Hokage had entrusted the battle to his three disciples, Tsunade, Orochimaru, and Jiraiya. The three faced off against Hanzo the Salamander, a ninja so powerful he had been dubbed a demigod. Though they were ultimately defeated in battle, Hanzo had been so impressed by their strength and resilience that he spared their lives, giving them the title of Konoha's legendary Sannin. Thus, the name, Konoha Sannin, was born. While his disciples and warriors fought fiercely on the battlefield, the third Hokage, Hiruzen Sarutobi, remained in the Hokage office, overseeing the war from a strategic position. Konoha's forces were simply too strong at the time. With his three talented disciples and a warrior like Hitaki Tsukumo leading the charge, Hiruzen never had to step onto the battlefield himself. This was in stark contrast to the other great villages, where leaders were forced to fight alongside their soldiers. Chiyo of Sunagakure had to personally engage in battle, using her puppetry skills to aid her forces. Hanzo, despite being the leader of Omegakure, had to fight directly to protect his village. Compared to them, the third Hokage was in a much more comfortable position. Even in future during the Third Ninja War, Hiruzen had been fortunate. By then, Namikaze Minato had risen to prominence, leading Konoha to yet another victory. In contrast, other villages suffered heavy losses. The third Raikage of Kumogakure fell in battle during that war. It was undeniable, Hiruzen had a stroke of luck that few other leaders had. During the First Ninja War, he had the second Hokage, Tobirama Senju, to rely on. During the Second Ninja War, he had his three disciples and Hitaki Tsukumo. During the Third Ninja War, Namikaze Minato carried Konoha to victory. While other Kage fought and bled on the battlefield, Hiruzen remained in his office, signing documents and making decisions from the safety of Konoha. Perhaps it was this prolonged ease that made him reluctant to relinquish power. Under his leadership, Konoha saw its last true era of dominance. With Tsunade, Jiraiya, Orochimaru, and Hitaki Tsukumo, Konoha stood at the peak of its strength. But from this point onward, the village would gradually begin its decline. Hiruzen's long reign would lead Konoha down a different path, one where the consequences of his decisions would shape the future of the entire ninja world. And in the end, the peace they had fought for would prove to be only temporary. Dear readers, join Patreon for 100 advanced chapters. Web links. Your support is truly appreciated, it means a lot to me. Hey guys, the cover of this FIC is taken down, can you give comments some pics?